This is my good friend Lewis, who runs a company called Dr. Car, and I've known Lewis. How long have I known you now?
15 years, 16 years.
Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah, a long time.
And Lewis knows his stuff about keys, immobilizers, security, and all sorts of stuff. And also, this is a sort of side thing. He had his car stolen as well. So
Yeah.
do you want to tell him what happened?
So I had my Audi stolen. So it was only about 1:45, I think it was. So it wasn't even very late. Playing back the CCTV, it only took him 40 seconds to steal the car. Obviously working in security and working in immobiliser systems myself, I had a tracker fitted with a remote kill. So we managed to get the car. It only got 2 miles away. So, but yeah, it was just the hassle after going through, always panicking that someone's going to be taking the car. So yeah, that's why I got more into the immobiliser side of things and aftermarket fit systems, as the factory systems are just flawed, as I was discussing with John.
So I mean, this is there's a whole array of bits and bobs on here. Well, I've been aware of it for a good few years, and I mean, this is nothing really new. In the 90s, they were stealing cars because, do you remember the old Ford Chubb keys?
Yeah.
You could just take them down to halfway and they pretty much open any car anyway. Yeah. And I remember years ago I had a Sierra. For those in the comments or watching, just comment if you've had a Sierra or not. I had a 1.8 GLX Sapphire, and it was red, grey bottom half, had fog lights, so I thought it was the real deal. And I parked it up and left it in NCP. I went and did some shopping, came back, got in the car, drove home. And then as I parked up, I was like, hang on a minute, this isn't my car. And it wasn't my car at all. It was somebody else's. The key had opened the door and started it, and I'd driven it all the way home. Same colour, same model, everything, just I was on the wrong level. And so then I had to drive the car back and put it back, and then I went and got my car. So yeah, that's how lax they used to be with security. But we're in like 2023, 24 now, and it's just as lapsed, but in a different way. So what are them? So they're just show the people kind of what would a car thief, because it is different from model to model, isn't it?
Yeah.
And brand to brand. So like I know we're here predominantly for the Range Rover crew, but we'll get to you in a minute. Your Audi got nicked. So how did they do it?
So because the car manufacturers are always trying to make the car more comfortable for you to use, like having keyless entry, where you can keep the key in your pocket and don't need to press a button. You can keep the key in your pocket and press a push button start. That just leaves the door wide open for car thieves to use technology to take cars now. So it's gone the days of smashing your window and hot wiring it. It's all modern day stuff like what we've got here. So to steal my car, they actually used a relay attack, where you'll probably need to find some sort of video. I've got the CCTV of my own car, so we'll get that added to the video.
I'll put that in the video now.
And so from the video you'll see the car is stolen by them coming up to the front of the house using a relay. What that's doing is pulling the signal of the key from the house, inside the house, and these relay devices can scan, I think they're about 100 metres. So 100 metres, they'll find that key somewhere in the house, pull the signal to the thief's box, and that transmits it to the car. And obviously the car then thinks you're there, you've arrived, It's the same with the Range Rovers as well. So it will unlock the car, as you see in the video. It'll unlock the car, push button start, so they allow it to start the vehicle and drive off. So the whole video is a 40-second from walking on the driveway to walking off. No breaking windows, no noise whatsoever, not gaining access to the vehicle at all. And that's without even touching on some of the devices that we've got. That's just the relay attack.
So that relay machine, does that keep that code then forevermore? Can they?
No.
No, so they then have to program a key at a later date.
Yeah. So
but then it doesn't matter then, does it, if the alarm goes off?
So what they'll do usually is they'll take the vehicle. Obviously, that vehicle might be tracked, so they'll probably use something. Well, they will use something like this, fairly cheap. We're not share links or anything, but you can find these on the internet pretty cheap for around about £50 or so. And this will jam the signal from the tracker. So once the vehicle's been taken off the driveway, if that's plugged into the cigarette lighter port, then that's going to jam. Not all trackers, but some trackers can be jammed with this. So you need to make sure you're getting a good branded tracker, ideally with remote immobilisation. So that's where once you realise your vehicle's gone, if it's not being jammed, then you can send a signal to it to cut it off.
It's amazing when you look at that as well. It almost looks like a handmade job. There's really nothing to it. It's just an aerial. You can tell there's probably a little PCB in there, and that's it. And you know, if you kind of pulled up on somebody and they had that in their bag, you wouldn't really know what it was. It just looks like some sort of weird. You could say that looks like one of them, you know, the FM things for your Bluetooth.
Yeah.
For your, put your radio, your phone over the radio or whatever.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And yeah, 50 quid.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Gee whiz. So they have taken your car, it's gone, you managed to stop it just by turning it off. So one of the things, so trackers, this is a good question actually, that we had from one of our people that commented, was that they're saying that there's trackers and there's trackers, and you just said it then.
Yeah.
There's good trackers and there's completely useless trackers. There was somebody in the comments who might have been one of our people that we're trying to defeat who said, oh, all trackers are a waste of time. But I can't, is that true? Or
I think trackers should be used as, like I wasn't using it myself, as a secondary defence, like a two-step authorisation. So you should have an actual immobiliser that stops and stealing the vehicle anyway, and then a tracker that, for whatever reason, anything went wrong, then that's a secondary option where you could kill the car remotely if the first system failed. So I wouldn't say a tracker on its own is, if you've got a tracker, your car's safe. It's not the case. A tracker is just useful. If something went wrong with your first level of security, then you've got a way in communicating with that car over the internet, over the phone, and sending a message to the tracker to get it to kill the car as such, as a secondary option.
And this little fella is just an example of some kind of equipment that can be used to detect trackers.
Yeah. So again, off the internet, you can use this device to detect a tracker. So if they didn't want to jam the tracker, they could potentially detect where it is and remove it from the vehicle. But car thieves, they want it nice, they want it quick and easy and quiet, and for most cases, they'll just jam it. Even with the modern day systems now, with modern day car security from the likes of Land Rover and BMW, Range Rover, Audi and everyone else, their standard alarm systems aren't even staying on long enough for anyone to be alerted. So even if there was no tracker, if that's gone at 2 o'clock in the morning and it's not being jammed, if you're not looking at your tracker at 2 o'clock in the morning, then you're not going to know it's stolen anyway, because the way they're stealing them now is it's silent. There's no noise. So, yeah.
So, well, we just watched a video of somebody taking was that a Discovery?
Discovery Sport, yeah. Same as a Range Rover.
They literally pop they pop the cap off and they use something like
lockpicks,
lockpicks
stuff, yeah.
Which I mean, it was funny. My friend locked his key out of his Mini, and he bought one of these off
Yeah.
the internet and was able to pick his Mini. And that's a guy who knows nothing about cars at all,
Okay.
and he was able to undo his lock in his Mini,
Yeah.
which is frightening. The point I was making has completely eluded me.
That video I showed you.
Yes, so the video.
Range Rover, yeah.
So they pick the lock, they get into the car, and then they had like a tool like that.
Basically this, yeah. So what they did is pick the lock, like John said. Picking locks can be less than a minute. And the problem with, the reason I was showing you that video was the standard alarm system on that Land Rover Discovery Sport. It only goes off for a few seconds.
Yeah, it was like 6 seconds.
And then switches itself off, which is useless.
It's just like, Land Rover, why? I mean, I know there is an argument that nobody takes any notice of alarms anymore,
Yeah.
but 6 seconds and then it just disarms itself, then what's the point?
Because anyone else, I would think someone's accidentally done something. Yeah. So once they're in the vehicle, in that video, which again is on YouTube, you could find it yourselves, they're plugging in a device like this. This plugs straight into the OBD port and will basically turn off the immobiliser off in about 12 seconds, 15 seconds. With it being push button start and no ignition barrel, once the immobiliser's been turned off, you can push button start the vehicle and it'll just start up. So, yeah, the factory immobiliser is useless it's on its own.
I mean, that's crazy. And that little thing, I mean, I know a little bit about this because somebody was asking my credentials. I know a little bit about cars, don't I, Lewis? So
Yeah,
I'm not a novice on this. I know quite a bit about it, but I've been out of the trade since 2015, and I cannot believe how far it's come and how far it's jumped. Now, the thing about these bypass tools and stuff like that, there's also, like, the people making them aren't necessarily the problem, because there is also, these can be used for good things. So the government might use them, the police might use them to, if they've got a warrant or something like that and they want to get some information from a car or whatever, they can get into that car. And also they could be used by locksmiths.
Yeah.
Who you've locked
I've
your key
used it
out.
myself.
Yeah, I bet you've done it.
So repossessions. Yeah, so sometimes, depending on what device it is, government agents might need to, it sounds a bit conspiracy theorist, but bug a car or do whatever they need to do. So sometimes they need to get into a car quick, do what they need to do in the car and lock the car back up. And then other times, like for as a locksmith, I've been doing locksmithing and all that for probably about 17 years, 15 years, somewhere around there. When we're repossessing cars, we need devices like this. We could use key programmers, program devices like this, but this might take us 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to program a key in to take the car away or supply the customer with a replacement key. But these devices just make it quick and easy, especially if you've got someone who doesn't want you to take the car away, shouting at you. You don't want to be there for 15 seconds, not sort of 15 minutes with devices like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sort of by trade I'm a locksmith, programmer, and I teach people as I was discussing earlier to.
Hence the classroom.
Hence the classroom, yeah. So this is our classroom, and we teach people how to defend against this if they want to start their own businesses, fitting the devices that we're going to go into later. Yeah.
What we're going to do, we're going to head over to your Audi that got pinched and have a look at all the things that are now on there and what you fitted and what you can train people to fit. And hopefully that'll give you guys some insight. Maybe there's some of you that are already in the trade or want to diversify into something else, but also this hopefully will give, because we're not doing anything that is dodgy or illegal, and you could say, well, okay, we're showing people how to do it. There's far more to it than what we're showing you. We're just kind of showing you what's available. The car thieves already know about all of this. It's the consumer, ourselves, who've got the vehicles that didn't realise the level of sophistication that these criminals have got to. And as I said in previous videos, they're not fools, they're not stupid people. They know what they're doing. They really do, don't they?
Yeah.
So I think, like the programming of keys, you know, there's so many manufacturers that will always tell you it's dealer only. It's not. Is there any car manufacturers that are still dealer only?
Tesla, I suppose.
I knew it'd be Tesla.
Yeah.
So the lowest stolen car is a
Yeah.
Tesla.
Yeah.
So they're always on the internet, aren't they? They've always got cameras monitoring. And what else is it about Tesla that makes them so hard to steal?
It's the fact that the whole aftermarket's locked down. So the moment you let me, as a locksmith, have a key programming tool like this to program a key onto, I don't know, a Honda or something, that could then be used by a car thief to program a key in for stealing the vehicle. So, yeah, Tesla is very locked down. It makes it hard for the aftermarket to compete, and most things then become dealer only. But that does make things more secure. So, yeah.
So the rest of the car manufacturers really need to get their finger out and
Improve
note.
the factory security, really, yeah. The
Yeah.
factory security is basically designed to fail. So the fact that the way it works is the manufacturer will bring out a security system, the thieves will bypass that security system, and then it's up to the aftermarket to figure out some sort of solution. And once we figure that out, we fit them devices, and that tries to prevent car theft, and then the car thieves try and get around that. So it's a cat and mouse constantly.
crazy.
Yeah.
So, well, we've kind of given you an overview of some of the stuff and how they do it. So now, there's one last thing I forgot to ask you. So they've taken the car. Would they use one of these then to program a key if they're
Could
shipping
be.
it abroad?
Yeah.
How do they obtain that key?
So eBay usually, or China, direct from China. So
And they make all the keys
yeah, so
for everything.
Yeah, you can get keys direct from China. You can get blank Range Rover keys. Once you've got a blank Range Rover key that's unprogrammed, you can then put that to a vehicle, plug in a tool like this, program it in. These tools aren't expensive. I mean, these tools are fairly cheap. These are less than £1,000. So imagine you're taking a Range Rover.
It's nothing, is
It's
it?
nothing, no. So
How much roughly is those relay devices? Because back in the day, I remember them only being model specific, and they were like 30 grand or something crazy.
yeah, the can be. It depends where you're buying from. There is blogs or manuals or whatever you want to call them for building your own. To be honest, if you built your own, you could build it for less than $100, maybe less than $200, sort of £200 sort of spend.
Wow.
Yeah, if you built it yourself. If you're buying one done, it could be thousands. But yeah, there's
So those are more and more common now.
yeah. So it used to be very high level crime, organised crime. It still is, but you're getting much more. It's more regular as the devices come down in price. You're getting more people get access to them, and the factory systems, the way that the CAN bus network is set up, like I was discussing earlier, with it being accessible from outside the vehicle, people don't even need to break a window to get in. They can turn the alarm off. They can unlock the vehicle and authorise start from outside. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. So, yeah, mad. Absolutely mad. Right, we're going to move to the garage part of here, and we're going to have a look at the actual systems, and you're going to come with us, and through the magic of YouTube, it'll be done now. Right, so we're here in the garage, and we're in your Audi, what is it, a Q7?
SQ7. Yeah.
SQ7, sorry,
4
mate.
litre.
4 litre TDI monster.
Yeah.
Oh, V8, you're a real man if you've got a V8. So, this was the one that got pinched. Obviously, you didn't even need to register it as an insurance theft because you got it back straight away.
Yeah.
Because of the tracker, and it was done, it was sorted, wasn't it?
I think it got 1.7 miles.
Wow. So, Right, okay. So what we want to have, what the big question is about these CAN bus immobilizers. So there are trackers that are being offered into the market. There's good trackers, bad trackers, but what we're seeing is people's insurance policies are only coming down when they're Thatcham approved, whatever. Now, Thatcham approved, as I understand, doesn't mean it's not going to get stolen.
No, definitely.
It just means they pay the premium to have the Thatcham
Yeah.
written on it.
Yeah, there's certain tests that they do to make sure it's not going to short circuit, certain things that they do on their board. They do an attack test, but it's only got to last 600 seconds, I think it is, something like that.
No.
As long as it beats that and certain criteria. I mean, it's a good thing, but it's not. Definitely doesn't mean if you've got it fitted, it's not going to get stolen. Yeah.
Yeah. So when these, I guess it's like anything. If the tracker's just fitted and it's in the centre console armrest down here somewhere, then it's going to mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Because they'll find it in 30 seconds. It'll
Yeah.
be, it would just pull this up. So it's all about the installation, and that's what you can teach installers to do.
Yeah. So that's what I'm teaching. I teach the different devices, what's out there on the market. We're not brand specific. It could be this brand, that brand, whatever brand, but how to install them correctly, how to wire correctly, how to solder wires correctly. They're just, like you said, it's as good as a fitment. It's no point in having a 10 out of 10 device fitted, 1 out of 10 fitment. It's you want both. So you need a good device fitted properly. That's going to prevent the theft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And even back in the day, when trackers were fairly new, in the sort of late, well, I was going to say late 80s, but there weren't really hardly anything with trackers on in the late 80s. But 90s, trackers came out, but I was hearing horror stories where they were just literally just behind the bumper skin on like a Series 2 RS Turbo. It was just like, people think thieves are stupid, and clearly they're not.
No.
So I know I keep giving them credit, but they are.
They are clever. Yeah.
You've got to know your adversary properly. So, right, okay. So you're going to show us how this works.
Yeah.
This system.
So we've got the system installed on the vehicle. So as we covered on the course, not on the course, what we will cover on the course, what we covered in the video already is these devices can bypass the immobiliser. We can get devices like this. This can plug straight into the diagnostic port down here. Once that's plugged into the diagnostic port, just down there, see it flashing away. Once that's finished, it can take 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and that will turn the immobiliser off. That will allow us to start the vehicle without the key in the vehicle.
Just like that? No way.
So, yeah, the factory immobiliser systems are no good against devices that's on the market. So we've added separate security to this vehicle. So, did you want me to go through that? I could show you. Yeah, show you guys how it all works. So this has got the extra security on. So it'll let the vehicle start.
They're all going to ask now, how did you start that when you had the security stuff on?
Yeah, because we've got the key in the pocket. And
okay. So that was just for a demo.
Just an example that this can be turned off.
Okay.
So I've got the key somewhere in my pocket. So it's here. So the key's in the pocket, and if you've got the key, you can start the vehicle up. And like we've said already, the immobiliser devices that can bypass the immobiliser might let the vehicle start up. The security this has got on it means you can't get it out of park. So it'll stay in park all the time, as you can see on the dash there. It's in P. And just can't get it out of.
Even with your foot on the brake, it does absolutely nothing.
Yeah, you can rev it up, but can't get it into drive.
No.
So there's no way of stealing the vehicle. Some people prefer a gear. This system's called a gear lock. Some people prefer this because in cold weather you can start your vehicle up. You can take your key in if you want. Leave the vehicle running. You can leave it on the street running, and if someone jumped into the vehicle, they can't steal it. They can't even if they turn the handbrake off, it won't roll. It won't go anywhere because it's in park. So fully secure.
Clever.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very
so,
clever.
this is a CAN bus system that's fitted. This with a tracker, two together, or just the CAN bus system on its own would be sufficient to stop a thief. You can have an option instead where it wouldn't allow you to start. So we could change the configuration. So when you put your foot on the brake and try and start it, it won't start, and then you'll have to put in a password. So you can put passwords in. It could be any of these buttons here, any of these here, any of these, anything on the door, the steering wheel up here.
No way.
So there's hundreds of combinations. It can be anything from 4 digits to 12 digits inputs.
Okay.
So yeah, it can be your brake pedals, your accelerator pedals. So because it can be all these different buttons and configurations, you could have any combination you want. So it makes it very secure. If you put the password in, then it'll allow you to take it out of park and put it into drive, or allow you to start the vehicle up. So you might put that password in before you try and start it, and then it'll let you start the engine. So it's just an option.
So for you as a person, you could just get in, press the buttons, and then the car starts.
Yeah.
Anybody else don't want to know.
Yeah,
Won't do it. And also, I guess you could change that code on a weekly if you were keen.
As much as you want, yeah. So,
Yeah. And then, are they? Because obviously, all systems have to evolve because the thieves will get cleverer. No doubt they'll find some other way.
Mm-hmm.
So what is in the pipeline with further security, like obviously fingerprints, things like that? Are they? I mean, that's unique. Phones have got it now. Can you tie your phone in with your car?
So your phone can be tied in with some devices. So on the course we go through with the installers, like the different, so they can advise their customers to their end users what options they've got, such as the banking level security for fingerprint, biometrics on your phone camera, for your facial recognition. So all that sort of stuff can be done. There's devices where it can kill the throttle. So if you've got a tracker installed, trackers usually good quality trackers usually have an output, so you can set that to a device that would actually kill the throttle, and over time that will reduce the throttle's ability by 10% each 10 seconds, to the point where eventually the throttle won't do anything. So if something
Well, I guess
happens,
that safely slows them down as well, doesn't
because
it?
once your car's running, if someone jumped out at you at the traffic lights and stole the car, and the car's already running, it's already allowed to go into gear, then that's why it's good to have the secondary devices. One device might be good to stop and start the car, or stop him getting it into drive. But if you're at the traffic lights and you, I don't know, get out your car and it's authorised to run as a normal vehicle for daily use, and someone takes you out that car, it's good to have something where, like a tracker, where you can send a message to it and start to kill the throttle. So over time, it'll safely grind to a stop. That way you can then go and track the car and see where it ended up.
Definitely lots to think about. And it's crazy, isn't it, that the aftermarket is having to do all these things. Like, surely manufacturers should be doing these things.
Yeah, it should be, but
there's this push, I think, towards digitising cars to the point where we start to lose our freedom. So they're going to start putting cameras in cars. Well, they've done it with the Tesla. Mm-hmm. The cars will always be on the internet. Mm-hmm. It might have facial recognition. You come in, it challenges you straight away. Mm-hmm. Or the cars are on monitoring. So if it doesn't, people get to know, there's people on the other end. Or even, put it this, I wonder if AI will then take a part, because AI could potentially monitor all those cars. That's a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
So at the moment, the aftermarket is definitely filling the gap, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I think there needs to be a big improvement on vehicle security in general, just for a lot of reasons. But yeah, there needs to be not just the theft side, just this actual vehicle itself has its own internet network, has its own Wi-Fi network. So it needs to be more secure so people can't access the vehicle and do anything with the vehicle.
And that CAN bus, we were saying earlier, that CAN bus network for the security wants to be like not attached to anything external to the vehicle that can be touched or pushed, or even the OBD port in some respects.
Yeah, so the OBD is too easy to access. They will go through with the installers to make sure that they're not installing devices on the OBD port down there. As if you do, then it can be bypassed. So it needs to be buried further in the car. So it's a 10 out of 10 fitment. You get a good fitment, a good device. Ideally, secondary devices as a fail-safe, then your car's going to be 100% safe. So the stuff isn't expensive. To get your car secured isn't all that much. It can be tracked for very little cost and investment. So, and like we said earlier, it can bring down the insurance anyway. So it's not like it's just costing you. It can save you money as well. So, it's just an improvement that needs to be made.
Our cameraman's dying off camera. He's like this going, "Ah!" he's been wanting to cough for about 10 minutes, I reckon. It's all right. We're not that pro, Al. It's fine.
It's fine.
You can cough all you like. You all right?
Yeah, I've been hanging on for so long.
So this is what I do to my friends. Make them not be allowed to cough. So one of the things I wanted is the emotion. And as if by magic, we've transitioned straight back into the classroom again. And this time I've got my collar up because Al forgot to tell me when I started, but it's fine. So we just, very quickly, I realised we hadn't covered like some of these after market, I mean that's good for hitting people, but this is for locking like the gear stick to the handbrake,
Yeah.
although a lot of cars don't have a handbrake now, so that's kind of redundant.
Yeah.
And then this is a wheel clamp. But would you recommend these?
No. I mean, visually it's a good deterrent, but it's one of them things where because aftermarket creates something and car thieves create something else, you get devices like this, and they just plug into the lock and build the key in the lock, and then you can turn the key. So it's this sort of stuff. There's a guy on YouTube, Driver 61, I think he's called. Got a YouTube channel, and he makes a video about bypassing all these devices that's out there already. I think he bypasses these in about 40 seconds, and this is in about 30 seconds with a similar device. A lot of times with these, they just undo the actual gear knob.
Just slide take the gear knob off, slide it off,
pulls off. So if it's not that, then they'll attack the actual lock itself. So mechanical locks aren't the best. It's better off to be something that's hidden and a bit more digital.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, you got this. These are good. You can put your Range Rover key or whatever key into the actual box. I would recommend these. Faraday box or Faraday bag, and that just blocks the signal from the key. So it just means if they've got that device where they're trying to do the relay attack, that's not going to work anymore. They've still got the OBD option and picking the lock, but it just slims down some of the options that they've got. So for what they cost, it's worth it, and it might give you a bit of peace of mind. But because the devices they've got can go 100 meters, some even more. I've seen one at 300 meters for Toyota. If you're walking around the shop and this is at home,
just mad, isn't
that's useless. Yeah. If your key's in your pocket and you're walking around the shop with it in your pocket, then if you're out in town or in the supermarket, then unless you're carrying one of these all the time, it's sort of useless. If you're just using it at home, you need to be using it out and about as well.
So is it worth customers just turning off their keyless entry?
Yeah. Obviously, they then have to go through more effort of actually pressing the button. But yeah, the night I got my car back, luckily I've got programming equipment. Some cars you can actually do it in the menus. You can go into the menu and actually turn it off.
Yeah.
On the Audi, you can't, and I had to go in with a tool that night and turn the keyless off, just to be sure. But then, yeah, fit some better security and then.
They were proper unlucky on your car.
Yeah.
Like really unlucky. They were like, But they came back, didn't they, multiple times to
they
try
did.
and take it?
Yeah, so I usually use a Faraday box myself, but that night I didn't. When we played back the CCTV, they'd been coming prior trying to get it. They came back after as well. But yeah, it's fully secure now. There's quite a lot of devices on it. A bit overkill really, but when you're in the industry, you sort of fit them all, don't you?
Yeah, it's true. So a question, another person said, they were like, don't fit any of these aftermarket immobilisers. They're going to come in your house and drag you downstairs and make you put in the code yourself. I mean, is that a common thing as you increase the security?
No,
Or I see everything you've said points to that they want to get in that car. And they don't want to be seen, spotted, talked to. They want to get the car and get out.
Nice and quick.
They're not really. They don't want to be confronted.
The thing with it is, if your car getting stolen is a Audi, a Range Rover, a BMW, a Mercedes, or any other Ford, Peugeot, Citroen, there's others about. So the moment they get to that car and plug in, and what usually takes 20 seconds to bypass the immobiliser, it's being 40 seconds, 60 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, or something like that. They'll start panicking themselves and think, well, there's one round the corner that probably isn't protected. They'll just go for that one. Yeah. So there is some devices out there that will actually lock the thief in the car. So they do get pretty scared.
Oh my word!
Yeah, so you don't want that. Nobody wants that. So especially a car thief. No car thief wants to get caught. So if it's not happening in the time they're expecting it to, they'll just go and get a different one that's not protected. So yeah, that's.
Well, and are the police really doing anything? Because I'm seeing lots of things where people are saying the police don't seem to be doing anything for anybody at the moment. But is it just the scale of the problem's got way out of hand?
It's two things. It's the scale of the problem and the understaffing. So the police do get a hard dig, but they can't attend jobs where there's no evidence, they have limited resources themselves. So they always aim to. It's just one of the things that they can't, and it's not the top of the priority either. A stolen car, it's just an item. It's just it's nothing that important. But yeah, there's a big scale of an issue where it's just a big issue. Yeah.
And somebody said to me, I've got several CCTVs on my house, and people were like, "Oh well, I've got cameras." I've heard this a lot. Well, just to educate you, if they're coming to steal your car, the chances are they're coming in a stolen car, so it doesn't matter about the registration of that car.
No.
And quite often they'll nick something really mundane as well. It'll be like I don't know, Nissan Qashqai. Couldn't get more mundane than that.
Yeah.
And so it'll be something that will be completely under the radar. They'll get in your car 9 times out of 10 because since COVID as well, it doesn't look that unusual to see somebody in a mask.
No.
And then you've got great clear 4K footage of a man in a mask
Wearing gloves.
wearing gloves. Yeah, if they're wearing gloves as well, they can't.
Yeah.
You can't get. I think the only weak point is probably their shoe prints, but the chances of getting those shoe prints and then matching it to the person are slim to none anyway. So it just reminds me. I think what will happen is a bit like it did in the 90s, where it got too silly, and then there was a guy that went to prison because he had a Sierra Cosworth that kept getting stolen, and he hooked up the bodywork to mains, and so the thieves came and it killed a guy.
Wow.
So, and I see it going that way, that it'll end up getting sillier and sillier. So hopefully the manufacturers will start taking a bit more look at this and what's going on. And I think Jaguar Land Rover is the main one in the spotlight, but it's a bit like Dieselgate, where VW were the ones in the spotlight, but it was you and me knew, because we could see the files. We knew that they had whole. When you take a vehicle map out and you put it in software, you can see all the tables and you can see what they do and how they talk to each other. And basically, you would always have these random tables. You'd be like, well, what are they for? And we were pretty sure that it was for getting the car into a mode and making it not too emissions-y. So,
Yeah, they got the stick for it though, didn't they?
They got the stick
Volkswagen
for it,
and
so-
Audi do it, yeah.
yeah,
As
right.
everyone.
Yeah, well, right now, I mean, I think the issue is the Jaguar Land Rover is a popular product
Yeah.
that is quite a status product as well, isn't it? It looks good and you feel good, and the interiors are amazing. So because it's a status car, people want it, which is what happened with like your Lotus Carlton, your RS Turbos, your Sierra Cosworths. What else was really nicked around those days?
GTEs and SRs.
Yeah, GTEs. Well, you used to be able to take the hazard
Hazard
light
sign,
switch
yeah.
out, turn it upside down, put it back in, and it would start.
Mm.
Well, so it would turn the ignition on, and then you could bump it, providing you'd broken the steering lock. Not that I ever did that. And if they'd got the fuel pump turned off, you could make a little thing that went into the cigarette lighter. And on GTEs, Cavaliers,
Yeah.
they had a fuel pump at the back with two little caps. You could just pop that up, put it through the boot, plug it in, car starts. I'm incriminating myself now. So as a mechanic, that's how I learnt those things. But yeah, so really, car theft, it needs, something needs to be done. It's getting silly now. Insurance companies, it's exactly as it was before. They're not insuring it.
No.
But it's also the emotional damage that it does to the people that own the cars. You had yours stolen.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got kids and stuff like that. They'll know that at the time something happened, nasty men came to your house, and it freaks them out,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's that. We had to have the car valeted or cleaned and detailed inside because someone sat there, you don't know who it is, so there was that cost. Just the whole hassle of it, and then you're always looking out the window thinking, are they coming back? So, it's
A big dog helps.
yeah. I got a dog as well. So.
Yeah. Big dog. That'll sort of put them off coming inside. So, I hope you guys have found this useful, interesting, and if you're out there and you're considering getting into the side of installing the Defeat device, then where can they find you?
So you'll find us on the web. The OBD company is our company. We'll pan over at the end so you can just see some of the stuff we cover in the course. If you're wanting to get into it, add it to your business and give security to your local customers, then we're the guys for it. If you're a customer and you want it, then we already have installers across the UK as well who can come out and install something to your car. So there's lots of different options. It just depends which route fits you best.
So there you go. So I've been John from Nerd in Motion. That's been Coffee Now. This has been Lewis
From the OBD company.
There you go. Thank you guys. Please like.